If you missed it live, then you're in luck. You're listening to the Hey Techies Rewind.
Here we have the Pleasant Valley Robotics team on, and they are part of BEST, which will be coming up pretty soon. I think Mall Day is coming up the end of this month, and then their actual date to have the BEST competition will be the following Saturday. So it's coming up right around the corner. And with us tonight, we have, of course, Hannah, who she was on the team last year, and I think Bradley, were you on the team last year as well? Bradley is shaking his head. He was on the team last year. And, of course, their fearless leader, Mr. Adam Goosby, and he is doing well. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty awesome. I'm happy to be here.
And I understand you're missing something else tonight by being here.
Yeah, it's open house at school, so
he's really upset.
I know he's disappointed.
Okay, Bruce. Well, anyway, so glad to have everybody here. And so I'll start with Hannah first, if she doesn't mind. Hannah, you were a part of the Bradley. You were part of the team too, Bradley. I forgot about that. Yeah, I apologize. We just talked about it. Can't believe I've already forgotten about it. But Hannah and Bruce is always laughing at me. Anyway, yeah, we got to be dorky sometimes, right? Well, I do. I know Bruce never
I'm dorky
is.
all the time. So
Okay. Well, anyway, Hannah, you're doing well tonight?
Yeah.
You pull it up to you. I promise you,
It won't bite.
It will not bite. There you go.
there you go.
Okay, so this year, Hannah, what is the name of the robotics competition, and what is sort of the objective? And then okay.
Well, the name is Bet the Farm, and basically you're trying to counteract big ag, which is, just taking over small farms and businesses and making it really a commercial business. And by doing that, they're using robots to help out little hometown farms, and so they've employed our robotics team to do that.
Okay. Now, what is your role right now in the team?
I am the marketing director.
Okay.
I do the marketing booth, which doesn't really have much to do with the robot, but I build the booth and I do the presentation with Bradley and some other members, and I do more of the business side of things, I guess you could say.
Did you do that last year, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, this is the third year I've done it.
Okay, so you're a pro.
Pro, yes.
Pro at this now. All right.
Come do some marketing for the Hey Techies Show.
Yeah. How much has...
I don't work for free, though.
No, that's right. That's a good point.
I guess I'm still working for free because
Yes.
Michael has yet to pay me.
Yeah,
but
that
that's
is
okay.
true.
That's okay.
Well, the Hey Techies credit card has a major negative balance, so it's
Yes.
kind of hard to get anything off of it. And blood doesn't work, so,
No.
it's hard to get blood from a turnip, right? Isn't that the saying? Anyway, Hannah, compared... I know we're not totally into the whole thing yet. I mean, y'all are getting the robot together. I understand we talked a little bit earlier. You made some progress. We'll talk about that robot later. But what I wanted to get at is, how's the marketing going so far this year? Do you feel it's maybe in the right place this year as compared to last year? How are things going?
I think it's actually probably going better this year than it actually ever really has. We're in there now. We have an experienced group of people. We have a lot more people than we normally do. It's normally just me and like 2 other people, and I think we have about 7 this year doing it.
Okay, so you got some more help.
Wow.
And it's just
Actually
we know
doing
what
the
we're
marketing side, you got some
Yeah.
more help? Okay, well, that was good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, okay, great. Now, Bradley. Okay, we got to get this fear of the microphone over. Here we go. Bradley, this is how many years you been on the team?
I've been on it since we started in 2013.
Oh, so and Bradley's a senior and Hannah's a senior this year. 2013. Yeah, I remember when the first time last year Adam came, we knew nothing. Well, Guru knew a little bit, but I knew nothing about robotics competition. I thought y'all were having wars between robots, so that would be fun. But and so he enlightened us about the whole thing. And, of course, this is BEST, and there's also VEX, and there's a few more, too. After getting to know last year we were the Guru and I were actually at the competition. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
It was tons of fun. It was chaos controlled. It was amazing, actually. So, Bradley, how is the robot going?
I would say it's going pretty well. I'm the head building and designing manager.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of smaller people under me.
Oh, good.
I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
They're just younger than me, and
yeah.
I have Yes.
Yeah, Bruce said they're just smaller.
And they help me with various things, and I just kind of tell them what to do. And if I believe they can do it,
Okay.
I will let them. But I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like things done a certain way. And so that's just how it goes.
So this year, are you going to have to implement some type of claw to pick things, or arm, or how is that? Or I know you probably don't want to give too much away here, but what kind of, have you thought out your design, I guess, and have you got all that finished and trying to figure out how you're going to build it? Or
Yes, we actually do believe it needs an arm and a claw at the end of it, just in order to be effective in the game itself.
Okay. Of course, we know, and I hate to bring this up, but I have to. We know your competition is Talladega. I mean, it is every year. You can't argue that. I know. And she's shaking her head. Oh, my God. Hannah's going, I don't even want to hear about Talladega.
They
They're
want to
not
talk
there
about.
this year, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They're
they're
not.
gone. I don't know where they went, but
Oh, breaking
Is she
news,
being
folks.
serious?
yeah, 100%. They're not there.
Really? I did not know that.
Shock
That's
the
news
nation,
to me.
but they're not.
Shock
there.
the nation is not there.
Shock the nation's gone.
Seriously,
They went to
this
shock
is
another-
news to me.
They went to
See,
shock another nation or something. I don't know.
I have been out of
We'll
the
have to do
loop.
some more checking on that.
That's interesting.
But you still have
Adam
a-
will give us some information.
But there's
later.
still a lot of other schools that you compete with in this area. Central Alabama's best. I mean, there was a lot of impressive robots last year, so I know there's a lot of talent out there you have to compete with.
Yeah.
So you try to get some intel, some inside information from the other schools, like, hey, I'll slip you some money. You gonna tell me what you?
This year,
Just kidding.
we got a notification back in the spring
Yeah.
that when we registered for the team this time, that the Birmingham hub that was hosted by UAB
Yeah.
is no longer a thing.
Oh, really?
So they had to split the teams up that were in the UAB hub
Oh.
to the nearest geographic location. So we gained a lot of new teams this
oh.
year
Okay.
that we're completely unfamiliar with. So we have really no
Oh.
idea who our true competition is.
So
because
some of the schools maybe on the eastern side of the Birmingham
Yeah.
metro are now kind of part of Central Alabama's best, and you've never seen what they're capable of, or how they've scored at competition. Oh wow!
It seemed like last year, and go ahead, Adam, you may correct me, and we're going to get back to the students here in just a minute. It seemed like some Montgomery teams may have come up last year, or somewhere down south, or maybe even Talladega.
Now,
I
you
think.
had like Winterboro was like
Yeah, it was Winterboro. That's right.
I
It's in
think
Winterboro. They're back this year.
Okay.
I can't remember if
Well,
Sylacauga was.
I guess the
part
point
of it.
I'm just bringing up and making, there was some
I remember seeing
some
Silverfire.
very
Yeah.
stiff competition last year,
Yes.
and it's always very competitive. I mean, being there, it's really neat to go see.
It is.
One
I mean,
time in your life, you should go see.
I
this.
recommend all our listeners go at least once.
And it's at the Talladega racetrack.
You got
Be down there.
the Motorsports Hall of
Right,
Fame.
Motorsports Hall of
They got like a
Fame.
meeting venue around to the side there. Yeah,
Correct.
It's a great way. I mean, just if you're in the area, stop by for a little while. It's intense. I mean, it's like going to a football game.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
robots.
It's November.
And you got the kids
5th.
cheering. You got bands coming. You got the mascots for the schools there. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. So what about any major rules changes this year that you noticed, Adam, or anything that?
There's not. I don't really can recall anything that's really changed dramatically. I mean, of course, the scoring of the game is different because you have different game components.
Sure.
But the one rule that stood out to me as we were reading over it, and we always try to find the one that's different, and there was a rule that says that the drivers and the spotters are not allowed to throw things.
Okay.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things that if it's in there, then someone's done it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
that was
what
my-
I was thinking.
Like, who did that?
I didn't notice anything last year that anybody discussed that
Well,
somebody.
the one last year that caught us off guard was that they encourage the spotters and drivers to dance, especially if the song playing is their jam.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I didn't see anybody dancing last year. I did that. I
No.
noticed they were really concentrating. It takes a lot of concentration to
Yes.
drive and do it the correct way. Now, last year was iron ore. So, Bradley, what's the deal now? Last year you went in a mine. This year you're going to be a farm. What do you have to do?
So there's corn set up in the middle of the little game field,
Okay.
and it's attached to dowel rods, but the corn is represented as paint rollers. that
Sure.
are just on the dowel rods. And the robot has to be able to pluck those corn kernels, whatever they are, off of the dowel rod and put them into a certain position. And there's also pigs on the field, and you can move those into your starting box, which is considered a pig pen. And in order to score those, you have to close the door of the pig pen. And you can also feed the pigs some of the corn that you get for bonus points.
Okay.
And there's also some lettuce and tomatoes that go in certain bins too, on a different part of the game field.
So I'm making an assumption here. I'm making an assumption that you might need some kind of dump in the back to put something, or a place to store, maybe transport between there and. Yeah, he's not going to go. He's not going to go there with me.
He's not going there.
He's not going to give it up. I don't blame him either.
That's privileged information.
Yes, that is very privileged information, folks.
But I could see potentially somebody doing that, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, if the moon's aligned right and all that good stuff.
Well, I tell you, one thing we learned last year, that Guru I learned last year, is that all the different designs. It's not like the fixed robotics. It's pretty your own design. You now, are there limitations? Don't you have to be so big, so tall? So is there weight, Bradley?
Yes, it's a 24 by 24 by 24 cube.
Okay, all right. So. Well, and there's probably some people listening that don't know anything about it. So I know it was probably that last year, if I'm not. I'm sure that. So what about the competition field? Is it similar? Is it going to have different compartments that you have to traverse, sort of like last year, or is it just sort of an open area? Do you know?
The game field's actually open this year. You can venture into anybody's area if you would like, but there's certain restrictions. You can't get in someone's way in certain areas.
Okay.
But overall, it's just open.
Okay.
Last year was very cut up. You had levels like you were going in a mine. I remember that.
I know that for some people it was difficult because you had to a lot more driving and maneuvering to try to get, if you want to get into that deeper part of the mine where those components, that ore not costs more. You got more points for it. It was more valuable.
Now, good question here. They're not doing that this year. They're not going to change the value based on how much you get. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
There is an area where you score the corn.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a community corn bin. So if your corn happens to fall in that bin, it's split up among the teams, but the values don't change.
Okay. Now, Hannah, who's the president this year?
Stephen Rowe. He was going to be here, but he had to pick his aunt up from the airport.
Well,
so.
that's okay.
That's all
We
right.
miss Stephen. Stephen.
We'll have to catch up with him at the mall day.
Yes. Yeah, we will be at mall
Yes.
day. Hey Techies plans, Lord willing, we'll be at mall day.
That's right.
Bruce is in his own little world.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't blame him. He doesn't have we've stolen his mic, so that you got to quieten him some way or another.
That's the only way we can do it.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, so marketing, you got that fairly squared away, you think?
Yeah.
Right. And another thing, here's something else, that it's not just the robot. Like you said, there's marketing. There's a lot of cost here. Not just we got the robot, we're done. There's a lot of other things, right?
Well, we compete for the best award, and you don't have to do necessarily all the other things, but the best award really heightens your chance of advancing to South's Best, and that's marketing and the marketing presentation and spirit and sportsmanship and the robot and just various little things,
Right.
instead of just focusing on the robot itself.
Right. Now, you have to build and construct a booth, correct?
Yeah, and we did one a couple years ago that we've pretty much used every year because we just built it a basic shape, and we like it because we can change it, each year.
Right.
It was a chicken coop, and it was a cave, and now it's going to be, I'm not going to tell you, but
No.
Don't give
it's
away
going
your
to be something
secrets.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cave. It was like a mine cave last year. It was really
Yeah.
good last year. Yeah, okay.
Still didn't win, but it was good.
Y'all had to,
Hannah, I'm
I
sorry,
loved
but-
y'all's booth last year.
Yeah, it was great.
It was
That
great.
yeah.
I'm still a little salty about it, but it's
No,
okay.
no one could tell. No one could tell at all. It doesn't show whatsoever. But at least you got passion. That's good. That's good, right?
Yes.
So you can't tell me about your booth. You can't tell me much about your robot. I'm running out of questions. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I got a
just kidding.
couple.
Go
I
ahead,
thought of.
Guru.
So, we talk about the booth, and you have to actually build the robot, but it takes money. It takes real money to do this because, like most schools, there's not a whole lot of extra money just floating around. Say, hey, so tell me how you do. I just do fundraising to try to raise funds in order to have the booth and whatever you got to purchase.
Well, me and Goosby came up with this system last year where we make every member on the team call at least 5 businesses. And, whether they donate or not, you have to call at least 5.
Okay.
And we ended up raising about almost $2,000 this year. So
Wow, that's
Very
fantastic.
You know, when we have 30 people, it helps a lot more. But
Yeah.
so that's how we raise money. Just call them local businesses. You know, they like it because they can write it off on their taxes. We like it because we're not broke. So it works for everybody.
That's fantastic. $2,000.
Wow, that is great. That is great.
What was my other question? So,
Yes, by all means.
what was it? So how many? This may be for Mr. Goosby. How many total kids do you have this year in robotics, and how has it been trending since you started in 2013? The number.
We have 28 on the team this year. We
Wow.
started out the very first year with, 9 or 10 maybe. And then after the first year, we just did it kind of as a club type thing.
Yeah.
And then the second year, we implemented the class at school to where it was one period a day.
That's right. You told us
and
about that.
We got a lot more kids involved that way. We went up to like 18 or 19 kids. And then last year, we dropped a little, got down to about
Right.
15 or 16. But then this year, we're at 28.
Wow, full
So
class.
Program is growing. Well, they started a robotics program at the elementary school.
Oh,
And
that's yeah.
We recruited some of the sixth
Remember
graders
that.
over that have now become seventh graders.
Sure.
There
So
you
it's
go.
a way to build it
It's-
up.
it's a
So this
growing
is a
program.
class. It's a full year class, like a science class.
It
Or
is.
Is it like you can take this for one of your science classes?
Well, it's
or?
just a general elective.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
then first semester we focus on best, and then second semester we let the upperclassmen mentor the seventh and eighth graders and help them perform in VEX IQ competition
Oh,
because it's geared towards the middle school age.
okay.
But then they can get the guidance from the upperclassmen who've had the experience as to hey, this is how you engineer, this is how you design, this is how you do the notebook, and it
Oh.
lets those kids really get the experience.
Fantastic. So you got students between seventh grade and seniors all working together
Yes.
on this. That's fantastic because, like, I can remember I went to Oxford High School when I was in high school, and it was 7 through 12 like Pleasant Valley is, and like the seventh and eighth graders didn't have anything to do with the upperclassmen, and this is fantastic because I think you can, like you said, the mentoring piece.
So, what's your hope here? I know you want to win, obviously, of course. Mall Day. What's your hope to succeed at Mall Day? I mean, I know that you want to. What do you feel good about you come away with at Mall Day?
Really just scoring points is what
Yeah.
we want to see. Last year we struggled a little bit, but this year we're being optimistic and looking forward to it. And I think we have a good robot, and that it's going to be able to score points. So
Yeah. Okay, that's very important. Do you see a problem with traversing the terrain? Last year, I noticed it was really tough at times. We talked about it earlier, but
Yeah.
do you see that this year, or is that not? Is there some other obstacle that's going to be more difficult than terrain?
I don't believe terrain's much of an issue this year because, like I said, the field's mostly open. There's
Right.
no little gates that you
Yeah.
have to go through this year
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it should be fairly easy to maneuver the robot itself, but the claw is where it gets a little tricky to be able to assemble that
Okay.
and make it function.
Now, is there a maximum of motors you can have on the device? I mean, is it or is it just a limitation of the actual controller? How does that work?
Most of the time, it's the motor limit. They give you two small, just 360-degree turning motors and two large 360-degree motors, and then there's 4 servos, which just have 60-degree
Okay.
turning abilities. So you have to design it so for those capabilities, and it's sometimes difficult.
Right. Okay. All right. How involved is Steven? I mean, I imagine is he really just the president, or is he helping be able to build the robot? I mean, I don't know him that well, so I was just curious.
He's mostly involved with being CEO. He's kind of in everything.
Right.
You know, he's helped Hannah with a few things, and I know he's helped me. I sent him home because he has tools at his house to be able to
right.
cut certain things.
Okay.
So I sent him home
Borrowed
with
some tools. Yeah.
some plywood one day, and he helps with that too. And he's just really part of everything.
Okay. Is there a limit to what types of products you can use to build it? Like, is there certain things you can't use? There's certain things you have to use.
Yes, they supply you with a returnable box and a consumable kit. And the returnable box, obviously, you can't keep.
Right, obviously.
So it consists of like the motors and the brain and all that kind of stuff. And then the consumable kit is mostly just nails, screws, wood, metal, just random pieces of equipment, you know, just general stuff to use to be able to craft your robot.
Okay,
So do you have to build it out of the stuff they give you, or can you go down to Lowe's or the hardware store and purchase, like, I need some more wood or I need some more of something? Can you?
You can go purchase stuff, but it has to be to their specifications.
Okay.
And you can only use the amount that they give you. You can't go buy more plywood and add on to.
So, like, if you bought some, if you take the wood they gave you, if you messed it up, you could replace that with another piece of the same spec and use it. Okay. So you can't just start buying a bunch of stuff and build this monster robot as long as it's within 24 by 24 and it, you know.
No, they wouldn't let you do that.
This year they have a new rule that they have implemented. I didn't think about this when you asked the rules question, that you can now have a custom part. This year,
custom.
That it has to be made entirely of one substance, and they encourage the use of 3D printing.
I was going to ask about 3D printing.
And you can use up to 2 different things, but you have to use the 3D printer or something that makes it uniform.
Okay.
On the robot, and it has to be within a certain size dimension.
Wow.
But you can create 2 unique parts that's not in the kit of stuff.
And they encourage you to use a 3D printer for uniformity.
Yeah.
So do you have a 3D printer?
We do.
Oh, awesome.
Our county actually wrote a grant at the end of, was it the end of last year, I think, that they wrote a grant in all of the high schools, got a 3D printer and a life-size poster maker and some really cool new
technology. Seems like he told us that last year. It seems like I know
we
can't,
slip
but
my mind,
it's just no. It's putting a light bulb in mine, and I think that we talked about that maybe last year. Was going to get a grant for 3D printer.
Well, that's awesome.
That is great. Yeah, and I'm assuming they've used it some.
Oh yes, I mean when we first did it, when we first got the printer in, the guy came that was the manufacturing company. He came and just did a demonstration for us, and we printed off all kinds of tiny little objects that, like a dodecahedron, they're sitting on my desk now that we just play with randomly. And of course, I won't want to give away what they're doing with the 3D printer this year, but
absolutely not.
They're definitely using it.
Great,
in some
cool,
capacity.
awesome. I'll be interested to see that. I'm excited to see the different
3D
robots.
printed stuff.
That is one thing
awesome.
that's amazing to me, and I talked about it last year because I'd never been. But all the different robots, what all these students come up with, totally opposite of everything, you know.
And everybody has the same stuff.
Right, correct.
And nothing turns out the same.
No, it doesn't, yeah. So
that's right.
All right.
So
did we lose? I guess we lost Bruce, right?
Somebody,
but did we ever have him? I don't know. It's debatable.
He'll be back maybe. Maybe.
Well, Hannah, you're over there quiet.
Sorry.
No,
I don't really do the robot
let's talk about the marketing and all that. So that's your kind of in your wheelhouse. So you got some. I mean, don't give away any secrets, but like, what are your thoughts about marketing? Because the thing is, for the listeners who don't know, is the day prior to competition, you have to actually go pitch your robot to, like you're a company, your team is a company, and you go and pitch it to the judges, but it's like the potential client saying, "Hey," so talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's something we weren't really prepared for until last year. Last year, we really buckled down and started preparing for that because it's worth a lot of points. And we actually won first place in it last year.
That's
so
right.
preparations paired off. We have a lady that comes in, and she came in a couple days ago, and she was a presidential speech writer. And she gives us tips. And then we have another lady that was a bank manager, so lots of publicity and stuff she had to do as well.
Right.
And she came in the other day, and we got all kinds of tips, and we really focused on that this year and last year. And I don't know, it's hard. I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years. It's my 3rd year in that room, and every year it's completely different. Like the first year there were 4 judges, and last year there were 8. So, there's a lot more. And you have to look all the way across the room because they're not going to sit by each other. I don't know why they can't. But,
maybe intentional. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's hard.
Yeah.
So how big is your marketing team? You said how many? I think you said it earlier. I may have slipped my mind.
Including me, there's 7. So there's 4 8th graders, 2 9th graders, and then me.
So what for the competition? That's the actual marketing presentation.
Oh, that
plus you're in charge of the booth, correct?
Yeah.
And there's the notebook.
The notebook is me, Stephen, Bradley, and we have a 7th grader on there just because he, somebody's got to learn.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
right.
Seniors are leaving. I mean,
Yeah.
they're losing.
We're gone.
They're losing
We're
a lot
not
of brain
coming back.
power right here. I'm telling you. Well, I can understand that. Speaking of leaving, what is your destination of college? Maybe you got some ideas.
Well, I'm going to Mississippi State.
Oh,
I'm going to
excellent.
major in geoscience with a concentration in broadcast meteorology.
Wow,
I did an internship
Mississippi
with
State.
ABC a couple weeks ago. And
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not internship, but job shadow. Same thing, really. I
Job
guess.
shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
Over at in Birmingham.
Yeah. I did it with Megan Thomas, the female
Yes,
one.
yes,
Yeah,
I
and
know.
I got
Yes.
to meet
Charles.
Charles and James Spade,
Right,
too, so it was fun.
I've met Megan one time.
Yeah, she's really sweet.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, she seems like she is. Well, what about Bradley? What's Bradley's plan? Or does Bradley have a plan yet?
I do have a plan. I plan to go to Auburn University and focus my studies on electrical engineering.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, this definitely helps you forward that because I know you're learning a lot in that area.
Yes.
Oh, I know one thing we forgot. What about batteries? We're going to have batteries.
Oh.
How does that work? How much battery can you have, and do you need to charge them during the whole process and change batteries out?
Yes, they supply you with batteries. I think they're actually VEX batteries, but they, make them compatible
Right.
and whatnot with everything that we use. And you get 2
Okay.
on game day, or they give you 2 to begin with anyway. And you use one on the field at one time, and you charge the other one. And one year we had a designated battery charger that was one person's sole job.
Wow.
So
Okay.
batteries are really important, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Of course.
I think I remember in the game some people were running out. Some of the batteries didn't work. One time they had an issue with that.
When we went to kickoff this year, the site director Danny Coleman, which
Yes.
I'm sure y'all
Yes.
met him
Yes,
last year,
we know Danny.
The first thing he told us in the coaches and CEOs meeting was make sure your batteries are charged. And I don't know which school it was, but he straight up picked on that one school and just kept hammering that fact
Wow.
out. Do
Oh.
not forget your batteries. So I've actually this week, I don't know if we haven't told Bradley that we did this or not, but we've got one kid.
You're the.
Again, his sole job.
Well,
You
it's very
charge the
important.
batteries.
It's just like on NASCAR, the gas man.
That's right. He's the battery
He's the
charger.
battery person.
Hey, if it doesn't go, it's not going to win for sure.
That's right. That's absolutely
Yeah.
right.
So how many batteries does it have on board? Is it like a single battery, Bradley or Hannah, whoever can answer it, or is it multiple? Hannah says she's
And
not
like,
answering
I don't
that
know
one.
anything about no batteries.
The battery's blue. I know that.
It is blue. It's just a single battery. and
Okay.
it just connects to the brain. That's
Right.
basically all it does.
So about average run time on this battery. This is not going to last all day, obviously. I mean,
No, I don't think we've ever actually had one run dead during the 3 minutes that you get
You're
on the
correct, right? We didn't talk about that, but yeah.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
talk about that in
well-
just a minute.
field. But I'm not exactly sure how long they last. But
Okay.
as long as they go for 3 minutes, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I think these 2 are happy. So
Now,
so you're changing them out before each round when you're actually competing.
yes,
Yeah.
we change them
And we
out
really
each time.
didn't. If you didn't listen last year, you didn't hear about it last year. Bradley is pointing out a good point that I forgot to mention. You have 3 minutes in each round, and it goes faster than you can believe while you're trying. So you have to
Yeah.
pick as much and do whatever you can in 3 minutes.
Yes, and whatever your robot's capable of, you just score as many points as possible.
Okay, so let's talk about the relationship. We'll go to break here late, just a couple more minutes here, and then we'll have to switch to break. But the relationship between the spotter and the driver, this is very important, and getting that just right.
Yes, it changes every year. 1 year the spotter had to lift this big windmill fan thing up,
Yeah, I remember they told about that. Yeah,
and then last year, I'm not sure what they did.
they could just really talk you through it, right? I mean, there was. I didn't think they could. I don't know. As I remember,
they could put the stuff in the boxes. They could
that's
sort
true.
it for
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
They could sort it for you. Okay.
And this year they're allowed. There's this mechanism on the field where they can just insert golf balls into this thing, and it drops onto the field.
Okay.
So where your little dump truck kind of method thing, that might be useful there. But that's really the only thing the spotter does.
So what are the golf balls going to be for?
they,
I mean, I meant to ask you what the pigs were for. What are they making the pigs out of? And we'll get to that in a second.
but the golf balls, they're in the middle of the field with the corn,
Okay.
and
they're the seeds. Yeah, that makes
of the
sense.
corn. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Adam straightens us out.
Somebody got to keep it
So-
straight.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to insert them into this certain hole, and it's just like planting a seed.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
So
So
that's worth points as well.
Yes.
So your spotter can put so many of those down, I guess, during the game? Is that what you're saying?
They're only allowed to put them into that little pipe
Gotcha.
silo thing.
Okay.
And it drops onto the field, and the robot itself has to go pick them
Right,
up and
correct.
move them.
Yeah, okay. Move them to the proper spot.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So at Pleasant Valley, Bradley and Hannah, are there a lot of technology classes at Pleasant Valley?
Well, we have a teacher, Miss Prickett. She teaches all the business classes, and she
Okay.
has like multimedia, which they've actually got like a mini TV studio set up
Oh,
in there. And it's
wow.
Oh,
pretty
nice.
Cool. Yeah. And then she teaches, starting with I think like 8th grade up, like computer essentials, that kind of stuff, career prep.
Right.
Okay, so now the TV, do they do something every morning? Do they show something?
No, I don't know what they're planning to do, but
Oh, okay.
That's for the teacher steps in. But what they're actually planning on doing is they're going to do a broadcast,
Oh, nice.
Okay.
whether it's daily or weekly.
Yeah, okay.
But one of our unused classrooms, I walked in the other day to get some things out of the closet that were in there and noticed that they've got a green screen set up and
Oh,
3 or
wow.
4 different cameras and microphones and lighting, and they're going to do an actual news broadcast, and they've got the desk set up with the computers, and I mean, it looks professional. It's
Oh,
awesome.
wow. That's awesome. We need to bring them on, Michael.
Yeah, so Hannah, tell me about, yeah, Guru, absolutely. Anything you want to do, man. You're
Sure.
the producer.
Give me a pay raise.
Hannah, right, exactly. Give myself one.
Yeah.
Hannah,
that too.
tell us, and you're making me forget what I was going to ask the precious Hannah, by the way. I just want to let you know. Man.
Well, while you're
Oh.
thinking, I've got a question. So we've talked. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Continue, my friend.
This is more.
Please.
So we talked about you score the points to get the different components. You know, plant the seed, get the corn, get the other things, and you get points for that, obviously. And it's kind of like I guess it's kind of like a elimination type style to get down to who wins that part. But you get points along the way. How does that? What I'm asking is, you have the competition, you have the marketing piece, and you have the booth, and you have the notebook, and just how is it the overall scoring to determine like who's the winner? How does that all work?
Let me take it.
yeah, sure.
Where Hannah had mentioned earlier doing the best award, and that's the part of the competition that we enter.
Okay.
The way best is set up is you can do just the robot,
Okay.
and the best robot overall on the day. So the robot that scores the most points in total will advance on to South's best just because they have the best robot.
Okay.
And then you have what's called the best award, where that encompasses the notebook and the marketing presentation and the exhibit and booth,
Right.
the spirit and sportsmanship competition, and everything that you see going on game day.
Yeah.
That all encompasses the best award. And whoever finishes first in best award and finishes second in the best award get a position in South's best as well. So they take 3 teams from the hub.
Yes.
So first place best award, first place robot, and then second place best award. And that's how they determine.
Okay. So that's who goes on to the next,
Yeah.
South's best, and that is
It's in
where?
Auburn.
Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
And the South's best, how big of an area is that? Just beyond Alabama, I'm
it's
assuming.
several states. It's the whole,
Okay.
essentially the whole southeast region
Okay.
comes in. I know Texas has their own region out there, so
Right.
I think it's Frontier's best that they get to compete in, and it's several states that are around Texas, and of course the whole state of Texas because it's massive.
Mhm.
But Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, Louisiana,
Wow.
No.
all of the local states around us all come in
Awesome.
to Auburn.
Now, what about nationals? If they were to get that far,
They
you-
used to have a nationals competition.
Oh, okay.
And they realized that the cost got so great that
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
schools couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So they just cut it down. To
Oh,
where it's
that's
regional.
right. The regional. I knew that. Yeah, you won your region.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Okay. Now, I know what I was going to ask, Hannah. What about the band and the mascot? You going to have all of that this year? You have any idea?
Yeah. Well, the mascot's actually an 8th grader.
Right.
we think it's funny because she's really short,
Yes.
and so we stick her in the Raider Ray costume, and she's really energetic, so she'll be there. She's already asked the first day of school, "Do I get to be Raider Ray again?" Like, yeah, because nobody else wants to be the Raider Ray, so you can be there. And then we've got some members of both of the cheer teams coming in, both varsity and junior high, and then I think some of the bands coming. She usually just brings like an ensemble, just because there's not enough room to bring the whole band, but a couple people, percussion, the big horns.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Now, if you've never been to this, I'm going to add a little bit to this. Last year, if you've never been to it, they've got a field set up. It usually has some type of, last year had some type of carpeting laid down. I'm sure it'll have something similar this year. And there will be an edging around it where that's the edge of the playing surface. And if I remember correctly, you had to make sure that your spotter was in the right place, and your driver, and that's it. You couldn't have anybody out there. That was a penalty if you did, or if they were out of their spot. Right? That's still right. Okay. So I'm trying to tell, on almost all sides are bleachers. They bring in bleachers. I mean, and it's just like watching a match of something, even if it was like, say, handball or tennis or anything. You got all these bleachers around 3 sides, I think it was, this past year. And it's pretty loud because of that. You've got cheering sections, and for 3 minutes, everything is. How do you hear, Bradley? How do you, like we just touched on a little bit, but what are the communications? Have you tried figuring out a communication between you and your spotter?
It takes a lot of, connection with your spotter to me, because, like you said, it's very loud in that place.
Yes.
And you can't hear much of anything. So it's mostly just hand gestures and, watching their eyes and kind of just knowing what they're thinking.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Now, how many drivers do you have right now, or you even got that far yet? Oh, my goodness.
Quickly moves the mic to
Not going to answer that question.
The
Answer
rules
this.
call for 5. You have to have depending on the number of students that you bring.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring 7 or more students, you have to have 5 drivers.
Okay.
So they have to rotate through.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And Best will actually give, on the morning of game day, they will give us bracelets that each driver has to wear. And usually in the coach's packet, there's around 7 or 8 bracelets. So you can have up to that many drivers, but you're required by rule to have minimum 5, because we'll bring 28 people.
Yeah.
And then you rotate the drivers out. You have to number them off, and 1 has to go before 2, and 2 has to go before 3.
So you have to have that like a plain order.
And you can't say, okay, I don't want my number 4 driver driving now, so let's sub in 1.
Oh.
It has to stay in that numerical order. So there's a lot of strategy on the coach's end as to who we place and where we place them.
Wow. I did not realize that.
The first year that we competed, and it was my fault for not reading the rule book, we didn't know when you got into the wild card round in the competition to pick the last of the final 8 that you had to continue your driver order. We just kind of assumed that the driver order would start over because it's a new round, and it didn't.
Oh.
So we had literally 15 seconds to get a driver on the field and suited up and ready to go, or we were fixing to get disqualified from that round.
Ooh.
So, they're very strict on the driving rules.
Okay. Now, sorry, Hannah, but this is going to have to go to Bradley, too, because he's part of building the robot, and he's also part of driving. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm asking him all the questions. But safety. Now, if I recall, last year they had to wear – do you have to wear safety glasses when you're driving? Is that pretty much all you have to have as far as safety, or?
Yes, they require that you wear safety glasses on the field, and they give you each team 2 bright yellow, bright orange vests, just so they know where you are. And
right. In case somebody's shooting in there, they don't hit you.
Yes.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. They only hit the deer. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay.
So I do have a question for Hannah about the marketing piece, and we talked about the booth. You have to have your booth, and you had a fantastic booth last year, by the way.
Thank you.
But is part of the scoring for that piece is how well it looks, the presentation, the professionalism. But is there any more to that part? Do they come around and judge, and you have to almost like do a sales pitch right there at the booth, like if you're at a trade show or something? Is that how it works?
Yes, and that's why I don't really leave the booth, because I love these 8th graders, but I do not trust them. That's my child. And so when those questions are asked, I answer them for the most part, I mean, I might let them answer like one, but I think that's probably the biggest part actually is the questions, because they're not just asking questions at the booth. If I went to the bathroom, they could easily stop me, because I have a Raider Robotics T-shirt on.
Sure.
Stop me and say, "Why is your robot built the way it is?"
Oh, really?
So I have to know. I know about the robot.
So if any time that day one of those judges come up to you and start asking you questions, that's part of the scoring.
Yeah, and if I can't answer it, then we lose points. So
wow.
We have like the whole week before game day, we're in there with the marketing team, and I have Bradley or Steven or somebody from Building Design telling them why the robot.
That's what I was about
to
ask. Is you have that communication now between all the people who built it, designed it, and the management, the CEO.
Yeah,
you're trying to get information from them so you can have that information at hand, so you'll be able to sell it. Basically.
And that's really what our engineering team is. It's me, Bradley, and Steven, and Caleb, which is our lead programmer. We get together and we tell each other, because they have to know why it's being marketed the way it is, and I have to know why it's built and why it's programmed this way. And we get together, a couple times, during the season, and just fill each other in, because we don't want to lose points for something, small like that, like a question being answered wrong.
The judges at any second could just go sit down beside one of the kids in the bleachers and say,
"Oh wow,
so why did you build your booth the way you did?"
I don't know. You can't say that, obviously.
And if it's a kid that spent the entire semester building a robot,
they're not going to know anything about the booth.
Well, they have to.
I mean, they wouldn't know that, but they've got to.
That's one of the things that every single. I mean, it's just like working for a company. You have to know what's going on within your company,
right?
So we have regular business meetings to where we let them know, and I'll make announcements. Okay, listen, this is why we're changing this on the robot. This is why we are modifying this, and our executives do the same thing. To where every time something changes, everyone is made knowledgeable of that change.
Okay.
Wow. I'm learning more and more about this. Like, wow.
Yeah, wow.
It's fantastic. This is fantastic. Real world experiences that these students are getting. It's just, man, if you're not doing robotics in high school, man, you're missing out. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all being here tonight.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us again this year, and we wish you all the best of luck, and we will certainly see you on Mall Day, and hope to be enjoying seeing your robot, and maybe we'll hear about your victory coming up in early November. That'd be great. So best of luck to everyone who is going to be in the robotics competition. And it'll be stiff, I'm sure. So thanks, Bradley. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, Adam. We really appreciate it so much. Y'all have a great evening, okay?